right, welcome to podcast 65. So, jumping into this, our team is in the semifinals currently, and they just had day one yesterday, and they had that first event that they had was wild. So, our team went out, and it was probably could have been one of their best events, and our team's going against a bunch of pro teams. We have a fantastic team this year, and so they went out there and they got a lead in their heat. It was really cool, and then one of our teammates, Nate, ran into some problems where the workout went sideways on him, and it's happened to me in that exact scenario before in a regional about 10 years ago to this day. So. I understand what that feels like when the workout goes sideways on you. So I think it might have been a nutrition issue, and they said maybe he was in the hot tub a lot or something. But Nate is a super fit dude and is in phenomenal shape and has worked really hard. But you could just tell like certain things weren't firing, and it went bad. He was dizzy. He was out of it right at the end of the event, and it was really cool. The team didn't panic. And there's a great clip, and CrossFit actually posted it and it's really cool. Nate picks up the sandbag. So he has to pick up a sandbag while Kiri's completing double unders, and he's hurting. And you see Kiri kick it into like another gear. And I think she's doing about the fastest double unders I've ever seen. Like
I've
competition.
Never seen anyone move that fast.
Yeah, like Tori, the jump rope world champion who used to train with us.
She channeled her.
Yeah, she was doing double unders, competition speed, jump rope.
At the end of a workout too.
Yes, at the
super
very
high
end
level, where she just like dug deep into like this, probably a gear she might not have even known she had, like just to help out someone else, and for the betterment of the team. But it was really, really neat. It was really cool.
And it's just cool to see those guys out there, and they're keeping a great positive attitude, and they're doing well. They're really battling. I think they're going to keep moving up the leaderboard throughout the whole competition, and they've got a fantastic team, and it's really cool. It's a combination of like Drake and Nate are younger guys, where Kiri and Julianne are both, they've both been competing in CrossFit since 2010, so our females are super experienced, especially in the years, 13 years in CrossFit is like, it's unheard of. It's like having a 20-year NBA career, which, only a handful of people have ever done that. Only a handful of people have competed as long as they have. And they're still competing in an open division, not at an age group level. So very cool. And they're also competing extremely effectively with, Nate, Kiri, and Julianne all have full-time jobs outside of the gym. And they come in here and they train really hard. But they're not in here doing, hard work pays off programming that's 6 hours a day of training. They have lives outside of the gym that they live very fully, and they can still execute at a super high level. Had to just throw that out there and really, really talk about that before we get into our topic, because I'm beyond proud of them, and I think they're gonna continue to get this ball rolling and do better and better, and we'll be watching the rest of the weekend.
What time are they on today? Do you know? So
their first event, it wasn't streamed. They're going to try and Darian, Drake's wife's going to try and stream it through our Instagram on, she's going to take over the page and just try and do go IG live. I think that's at 3 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and then I do think they do have an event streamed, as we're speaking. Doesn't matter. No one's going to be listening to this until after the fact.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching. But yeah, super proud of those guys, and we'll be following up. Next week we'll be having a podcast with Drake and Jack, just talking about the whole weekend and moving forward with how we're going to do our competition stuff next year. So, kind of piggybacking off that, our topic we wanted to talk about, and especially for our competitive folks, they're going to typically have like a results-based goal. And we talk a lot about goal setting, and I think I've had whole like podcasts just focusing on goal setting. It's something that, we chatted about this week and wanted to revisit, and especially as, our lives change and goals actually shift and change and should probably as we age and we have different things pop up in our lives. What we wanted to discuss was, results-based goals and then process-based goals. And, we were listening to, I'll reference this podcast a lot because it's all very relevant to CrossFit, and it's Ben Bergeron's Chasing Excellence. And it was a topic that him and Julie Fouché touched on. It was how both of them had really shifted into having their goals be process-based goals. And it really struck home with me because I'm always a very results-based goal setter. And it's as we're speaking has ran me into physical and psychological problems in real time. So as we're speaking, I'm going through issues with, we're doing summer shred and I ran into an injury with my foot and I want to do Murph and I'm in a lot of pain and I'm trying to I'm grappling between should I run? Should I do this and that? And I want to do these things, but it's keeping me up at night. It's really bothering me. Should I go through the pain? Should I just shut it down? And it doesn't matter really to anyone except me. But what they really talked about in this, and I'm trying to really take hold, and a lot of this is just me trying to talk through it. But, when Julie stepped away from competition, Julie was, second place at the games, maybe twice. I know she was on the podium 2 times. And the year she blew her Achilles, she was, maybe favored to win, if not favored to win, she was right there. She was having a phenomenal year. I'm good friends with her coach at the time, Doug Chapman. And, she almost still made the games when she blew her Achilles out on day 2 and was in a boot doing stuff. I think she still ended up in 5th place.
That's insane.
Yeah. She's just phenomenal, but she made this transition after that and she had the plan,
because that was her last year.
It was her last year of competing because now I'm going to go be a doctor.
Yeah.
Because she had done med school
it was time
and
for
that.
to move on.
It's time to finish up.
Devastating.
And
we had a similar thing with Katie Gautreaux, right? That was her last year, for our team, and she blew out her knee. And I think that she had made that her last year because she wanted to start having a family, and it's pretty to kind of bring it back to our gym
people, we know. The cool thing about Katie is she was actually able to overcome that within that year and make it all the way back to a regional to finish out her career, and she did really well out there too. It was a great finish for her. Backtracking back to Ben and Julie, both of them were competitive CrossFitters. Julie at a really high level, Ben more at the level that I was in, on teams and kind of trying to do it while leading a gym. And, I can really
relate to him.
Yeah, I can relate a lot to him and his goals. And I feel like he's actually very similar in he's always placed a lot of pressure on himself to compete in things, and it gives him some problems. So what they both started to talk about was more moving into rather than results-based goals for them and where they were at in life, process-based goals. So for Ben, it is training in the gym 5 to 6 days a week and maximizing what he can do in the gym that day without taking a step backwards. It's very simple. And I'm like, Yeah. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll take like an injury like I did now, and I will have been, I was getting better week by week. And I'm like, okay, I started off in not great condition. We had gone and done the stem cell thing. I hadn't worked out a lot. I'm like, okay. And I have a plan. I'm going to hit this time at the end, and I'm able to execute on these plans often. But when something goes sideways on me, I take this injury, I'm limping around. I'm like, I've just blew 3 weeks and I want to get it back. And then I start to kind of panic. Like, can I do it? Can I try? And rather than, well, take a break, try and maximize what you can do that day and keep moving forward. I'm still having trouble doing that, but it helps you not only mentally, but physically, because you're going to do what's best for your body rather than I have this goal, and this isn't like a, if I'm going to the CrossFit games or whatever it is, like you need to push through a certain amount of pain. You need to try and, make sure you're ready and prepared but if you're just training to train, like you don't really need to do that.
Well, and to kind of bring it back to like our level and just us personally, and it really got me thinking a lot about like, we each have those goals that we're too attached to in life. So coming from like the bodybuilding era, coming from like owning a nutrition company, my focus has always been too much on the aesthetics of my body physically. And when I get too focused on that, I really don't get to where I want to be. And then it kind of got me thinking too, like, what do we do in life? Because I feel like we have a decent amount of success for normal people. What do we do in life in the areas that we're successful? Like, how do we handle that? And I think one area we've always done really well with was business. But we don't think about it as business and making more money. And we never have, like from the first time we met, we're kind of sharing dreams and like goals. And it was always about being better, being better, being better. And that's the process and refining the process. And I feel like that's something we've done. We all know we got to make money, right? We all know we want to feel good when we throw on an outfit or go to a pool. We all know that. But if you focus on that outcome, it really kind of cheapens the whole process and it cheapens the reward once you get there. And I think it's because it's what really popped into my mind today. I was talking about this, like our topic today with Lexi. It's Abraham Maslow, I think in the 1940s. It just kind of reminded me of like Psychology 101.
This hierarchy?
Yes, yeah, when I was at OSU and learning about this hierarchy and the different levels of the hierarchy. And on this bottom level, and I just pulled it up today as like a refresher, you've got food, water, sleep, and what was interesting is sex is in there. And I'm thinking like, okay, these goals that we have that we're too tied into this outcome, why is it that we're too tied into that outcome? And, it all comes back to like your ego and how you feel about yourself. And one of those basic levels, and to me, I mean, this is up for interpretation, but a lot of what we do is to almost make ourselves more attractive to the opposite sex, and it has that wrong intention. So, maybe for attention, like if we want to become a better athlete, if we want to make more money, it's almost like making you more marketable. And that can serve you for maybe a period of time, but you're dwelling on the outcome so much that it becomes physically and mentally exhausts you, which then physically exhausts you, which then causes much more burnout. Where if you're always focused on the process and refining the process and showing up every day, giving it your 100%, but even within that daily routine, not focusing so much on the end result. So I'm going to show up, I'm going to do this workout, I'm going to do the best I can. But if I'm too tied into that end product, that end goal, then we're back to one of those they call it deficit needs. So it's a lower level need. And if you're working with lower level needs, then you're not reaching your full potential of self-actualization, which is the highest level of this chart. So at the highest level, you are reaching your full potential, you are focusing on others, you're creative. Basically, you're out of your head. Is kind of what they're like. You're there for the benefit of the people, which is really neat to like watch Kiri yesterday. And yes, it benefits the team, it benefits her, but she's not doing that because it's comfortable. She's doing that to help Nate out. And that was just such a neat freaking thing to see, because it's really like putting herself, she's exhausting herself, and it was almost to the detriment of probably her flow at that point. But she was motivated to do that. And you could tell her working that hard fired her up. Like she almost had this extra level after doing all that, because she's just there in the flow, focusing on other people. If we could all learn to do that and channel that and being better for the sake of bettering everyone else, it just naturally happens that you're going to get closer to your goal. You might even blow that goal out of the water. And that's the areas that I feel like we have over excelled in are not the areas that we have focused on personally. For me, it's not, I have like thought about my body so much that I'm now like back into bodybuilding and making my body better than it was. I mean, it's changed. And I think in some ways it's neat, but I don't think it's better. And it's probably because I've just focused a little too much on it. And it's something I continue to work on, but you haven't become in better shape because you focused on that more. That's the outcome. That always hurts you, or your performance. You have not performed at your optimal level because you focus on it more. When you focus on the process. So like, even last year when you were focused on sparring with the guys and hanging out with them, and that was like your flow and you were having fun, that's when you got better at boxing. When you focus on like the community and just like for me to focus on just the process of eating healthy and fueling my body and having healthy meals with our family so our whole family is healthier, that helps me be in better shape, because then I don't overanalyze it. And not to mention, when you're focused on food all the time, it makes you want to eat more. And you can't really it's just like this hyper focus. So anyone that's done bodybuilding shows that you focus so much on food, you become obsessed with it. And you can't have it, and you can't have it, and you have too much, and it's just always this thing. And I think the same can be applied to anything, whether it's fitness and wanting more, and then next thing your hour-long workout is now 2.5 hours because you have to warm up for 45 minutes with this special like routine that is like almost like a good luck charm. And then you've got to do all this extra stuff afterwards, and it becomes too much. And put it simply, you're just doing too much and breaking your body down. To put it simply, and like in terms of like an aesthetic goal, for me, where I break down, I focus on it too much. So then I'm always thinking about it and probably just eat a little too much, where if I just didn't focus, I'd be able to tap in and ground and feel what feels right.
Yep.
So if you focus on refining the process, that is more of a higher level need, but you need these basic needs met. So then that comes in, like I think if you keep finding yourself too focused on the end goal, this is just my opinion, you need to look at what are you not, or what have you not worked through from previous experience, your childhood. I mean, family dynamic, friends, whatever, work through that stuff so then you can move on past that and be focused on the process, because you will never be happy with only the outcome. That's not to say you shouldn't try your best, but even like for the games or whatever, maybe Rich Froning's intention, yes, I'm sure, was to always win. I don't know if that's healthy, right? If your intention is to always go there and do the best, then that's much healthier. You can't control.
Well, I don't know that it was,
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
So I think it was once he got there, and I think that's why he stopped. He could have definitely won it probably 2 more years after he did.
Yeah.
And he decided to go onto the team because he enjoyed working out with those people, and he felt better, and it took all the pressure off of him, and he just enjoyed the process. And in that process, I remember seeing him the following year, and there was a good example. he continued to get fitter. I think he won the Open the first year he went team, and pretty easily beat Matt Frazier in one of those like face-off workouts, when he was like retired from individual. I remember talking to his cousin Darren, who I think helps program like the Mayhem stuff, out at the games, and was just asking him about it. And he kind of described that. He was like, yeah, it's a lot of pressure to just like go out there. In that last year, it really bothered him. Like he was just a little nervous and this and that. And he's like, he's actually like way better this year. Just training. He just wanted to train with the guys and stuff around Tennessee and just hang out with everyone and enjoy that process. And every time I've had a lot of success athletically, or at least the most, even like when I was on our team that went to the games, it was all because the process was super fun. We actually didn't even have this big intent and goal on the games until we were halfway there. So all we did is we just had a really good group training together every day. So we just trained together and it was fun. And then, as all that stuff started to come up, we were all intent on signing up to do the Open and try and see how we would do. As it came up, we looked around, we're like, hey guys, we should, we had some people who were going to maybe qualify individually. Like, let's form a team. I think we're pretty good. Yeah. But the focus, we weren't hyper focused on it. We had no idea how we would do even when we went out there, until the goal wasn't even like really making the games until we were like done with the second day. And it was like, okay, like we're in second place right now. We need to, we're going to try and make the games. But that wasn't the focus. It was always after that, or like once you had accomplished something like that it got really tough, because now it was very results based, or
it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah. Or later on, when the sport, for me in CrossFit, I can really talk about like the sport started to accelerate really fast, because I was in the beginning phase of it. And these weightlifting numbers started really going up. So I started to have very specific weightlifting goals that I needed to hit these benchmarks to try and stay with the curve of the sport. Like, I need to be able to like clean and jerk 315 pounds. I need to be able to snatch 245, and I'm, 25, 30 pounds away from some of these lifts. And I'm just going crazy on these strength cycles, and I'm getting hurt because I'm pushing them a little too hard. I'm not letting the weights come. I'm trying to force them up. And that's when I really started to run into problems and issues. Instead of being in the process and letting things come to me, I tried to force them. And then in doing that, it wasn't fun, and I ran into problems.
So, I mean, I think we can even take this, like, add on another layer. It's not only being in the process, but it's more like getting out of your head and being in a community.
Yes.
And that's what makes CrossFit so cool. Yep. The first time I remember coming to your gym, I just fucking loved it. Like, I was like, these are my people. I was so tired of being at Lifetime and everybody's got headphones on and they're staring at themselves in the mirror. And I'm like, I've been staring at myself in the freaking mirror for like the last 10 years with these shows. Yep. And I'm tired of it. I don't want to look cute. I want to slam the fucking barbell down. I want to get dirty. I want to have snot blowing out my nose. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm not here to look a certain way. I'm here to like be with the group and be a part of something. And that's what makes life fun. That's why we're all here. And if you get too tied into that, like me and here, it's like, it does matter. Like, if you're a weak link and a chain on a team, it sucks. We all have our weaknesses, but it's almost like you need to make yourself stronger to make the whole chain of the team stronger. And that's your focus. The focus is about, other people, which is another thing that's kind of interesting. I was diving into this today, just kind of reading about Maslow's hierarchy. And, I just found this little tidbit of research. I just want to kind of quote it right. But research shows that valuing your own happiness and obsessively focusing on it has paradoxical effects. That is, focusing on your own happiness can make you less happy. Altruism brings happiness, the action of acting for the benefit of others. So that's what we're talking about,
Yep.
and I think you can apply that to anything in life. Anything in life. You just got to bring a community around you. So even if it's, I mean, and I kind of do this now, not realizing it, but like with my body goals, every year I kind of want to go through a phase where I really refine. I feel like that's important for my character to go without alcohol, be a little uncomfortable, really like this refining process, not getting too attached to food and alcohol and fun and really like, hey, I'm just going to go through like a more calm, quiet time. And I bring Lexi and Maddie in on it. Hey, we're going to do like a photo shoot. We're going to make this fun. We're going to keep at a fun level, but bringing others in on your goals. And even if that's like specific goals that you have, finding someone to train. Dan will do that. He'll always have a partner in the gym, and he's had different random goals throughout the years.
Working on bench press or
he'll
bring a guy. Yeah.
He'll find somebody like, hey, you want to do this with me? We're going to try to work up to 100 pull-ups, and just bringing someone in there with you. It helps. It just creates like that community that we all need.
Yeah.
And that's what sticks, and that's what lasts a long time, where if you just have so much focus on yourself and how you can be better, it actually backfires.
Yeah.
You focusing on how you can be happier makes you less happy.
Yeah.
And the more we can think about that, and not to mention is probably because we're focused on this goal that when you attain it, you are not happier. And we were just discussing that this morning. I think it's really cool. You boxed last year, you won, and you were on a high for about a day. And then I think the bottom really fell out, where you had to have some sort of sense of feeling that didn't do for me what you thought it would. Sure.
Yeah. Always. It's always like that. I think that's a big, all of this it's always been in my head, but like starting to put it together and starting to zoom out and see it really helps. And, I battled, a whole group here, for over a year with, our competitive side of the gym, and, COVID kind of changed some of our class schedule, and our level 2 group and things like that kind of fell apart for a while. And what happened was, what's very popular overall in CrossFit gyms is there's a community class like we do with our all levels. And then each gym will typically have a few people who are very competitive and want to do well in the open and quarterfinals and all of that. And that group of people typically will move to the corner of the gym, and the earbuds go in and they start executing these workouts through an app.
It's almost like everyone's trying to get ahead on their own.
Yes.
I have a secret. I'm going to,
Yeah.
and you've been close with different competitors that have done that at like, kind of be like, well, don't let anybody know I was in here early today.
Yeah.
And it might even be a training buddy. And then, it karma or whatever, but like those people end up usually getting hurt.
Well, and what I was really getting to is you start to lose that community and that why. Like people get into CrossFit and they start enjoying it. They want to get a little bit better at it because it's really fun to train in this group of people, and you're kind of competing with them and against them, and it's a gamifies this whole workout thing. And then it's like a worldwide thing, and you want to get better at it. And the way our gym always had a lot of success was creating community with the competitors and everyone pushing each other and wanting to show up and be a part of that group and work hard. And you're seeing people do these movements. They're giving you tips. You're like getting this instead of, if you're looking at an app that says, hey, do this handstand walk. It's a lot different than seeing someone point their toes or like make this adjustment. You're like, oh, that's what I'm not doing. Like all of these things always worked so well in getting us better. It's why CrossFit Mayhem, they had Rich Froning, in part they had Rich Froning, but in a huge part because he created a community of people who all train together all the time, all year round, and made it a lot of fun. And when we did that, that's when we had success. And that's why we've had success again this year after a year when we did not, because people were scattered doing their own thing, this and that. Now that we have that group, everyone's rowing in the same direction. You get to see that success come through. Now they do have that results-based goal, but the process is so much more enjoyable.
They're having fun with it.
They're having fun with it.
They're just trying to be better.
Yeah.
And I think that's by and large, everything that I hear from people, it was more so last year, coming off of COVID, was I got really out of shape. Why? We were isolated.
Yeah.
I mean, that really says something. Like, you've got all the time in the world to work out. Why wouldn't you be in better shape? Because you were sad, you were isolated, and you could be.
A lot of these people have fully equipped garage gyms and have the means to train.
It's not that you had to buy shitty food or drink extra alcohol. And I think for us, it was like a saving grace for us that we needed to be strong to hold up this community. And we felt this big responsibility. But it was just that even if we couldn't be around people, the idea that we are holding this together and we've got to do it. Like, we cannot fall apart. We're like the glue. Like, we're like the parents of the family. And it's really the psychology of all this matters so much more than we understand.
To that point, and I'm not saying this to like say you can never quit my gym or anything like that, but to that point, oftentimes, it people will want to maybe build out like a home gym, which I think it's actually great to have equipment and things at home. If you're short on time, it can keep you in a rhythm.
You're traveling a lot.
Yes.
It
keeps you on the path and steady, and and you make sure like you get that workout in. Yeah. And it's going to be maybe suboptimal. But what I was getting at is when you stop having that why, it's very rare that I don't think I can honestly say in 15 years, I don't know if I've ever seen someone set up their home gym, leave this environment, set up a home gym, and then I run into them on the street and they look way fitter. Yeah. It's never happened. They've always gained some weight, or they look softer, skinnier, like in not a fit. They've lost fitness no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's because that why it's just less like going into your cold garage, in the middle of winter to like hit back squats, and like you're not doing the full warm up you would do at the class. You're not talking and I want to go back and see those guys, and like all the hormones and stuff that come with like being happy and social and around people. It's different. You don't, there's so many aspects to just coming in and being in that group. Like
a lot of it is just get you out of your head.
It does.
And that's like, I've been in this game since I was 19, actually younger, 18. And I'll think back to like different times. I would always like to I was a manager at Lifetime Fitness, and I would personal train with this, older trainer, Ron, because he hated meetings. I was like, okay, Ron, fuck it, whatever. Like, you can just train me for this 30 minutes. We need to have a meeting. I need to ask you about a couple people you're training or whatever. And he loved to train me because I would work so hard, but I hated training one-on-one with him. And the more I kind of thought about that, I'm like, I don't like this. I can't get out of my head. He's asking me how I feel. And I'm like, don't ask me, please, because I'm going to focus on, well, my knee hurts, or I'm tired of this. You just tell me to do it, I'll go. And like, even like I train with Dan once a week, and I pull Lexi in with me, and we'll kind of honor like what our bodies need. But it really helps me to not always think about exactly what's going on in my body. Most of the time that shit will work itself out if I just don't ignore the big alarms. And we focus on all the small stuff there's always stuff that's wrong.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's in our body or with our business, there's always things we can improve on. And if you just focus on like accepting accepting the aches and pains and moving through it, accepting like, hey, we're always going to need to work on the gym and refining the processes and let's tighten up this or tighten up that, accepting, with my body. I was even just thinking about this today. Like there's mirrors and barbell and like, how can I move through this and accept all the parts of me that I don't necessarily like and love them? And I hear people say that all the time. It comes back to self-love. Because if you have this end goal, that's perfection. We're never perfect. Our bodies aren't perfect. Our minds aren't perfect. That's why people love each other, is for their imperfections. When I think about our kids, especially, like it's Charlotte's little quirks, it's Oscar's little quirks, it's your little quirks. How can you do that with yourself? So, whether that's a performance thing, like I run super long strides. It looks hilarious when I sprint. It's kind of funny if I can just laugh at that and be like, okay, well, I run like shit. I'm trying to be a little bit better, but it's kind of funny because I still can run at a decent clip and I always have been able to. So you can make fun of my Phoebe run, but I'm going to end up doing okay anyways. So that's fine. And just love that. And we all have sticking points with that, though. It's hard for me with my body, whether it's like seeing cellulite or, my shape isn't quite where I want it to be. How can I love that and put that and just accept it and move forward? Because you get hung up on these imperfections and then you're not refining the process anymore. You're hung up on this small thing, which is that goal that's your focus, instead of always refining your process. Well, you can be better if you can move through what your body's telling you and still move in the direction, if it's gaining strength for you to become a better athlete, that you're always focusing on that strength part. If it's with aesthetic goals, and summer's coming up, I try to tell my clients always have like a focus. Like for me, it's really hard to have dinner with my family and not pick around afterwards at the kids' food that they don't finish and have some sort of reason why I need to do that. Or just simply overeat a little because I'm relaxing and I'm enjoying myself. That I don't think the answer is to not enjoy myself. I don't think the answer for you to get in better shape is to like grind through, do more things that you don't enjoy, but like kind of take your medicine, like and enjoy that process and then shut it down. I think food, I think exercise, I think alone time, it can all be medicine and should be medicine for us. It's all in how we dose it out.
100%. Yeah, I think that's a good place to kind of leave it. I think just wrapping up, what I would say is think about how you envision your goals and then maybe reframe them and look a little bit deeper at, are you enjoying the process? And if you're not, and the goal is really stressing you out or making things not fun, get back to enjoying the process and see how that makes you feel. And I think what you'll see is those goals that you have and had will come a lot easier without all the pressure and effort that it feels like.
Yes.
So.
And one more thing, just my clients that do focus on the process see results so much faster. I just had a new client this week. Within the last week, she's like, you know what I did this week? And her body changed so much in 1 week. She's only 3 weeks in. She's like, I just decided to start enjoying the process. And it's like all this stress melted off of her, body fat melted off of her. She's having fun. She's pushing. She's doing power hours. My clients that focus on the process always see better results. And it's almost like it should be contradictory, but it's not.
Yeah. All right, guys.